I actually hate 80-20 running for most runners. Here's why. The 80-20 rule says that 80% of your runs should be very easy, below your first threshold, and 20% should be quite hard, above your second. But for most runners, I think it's irrelevant without context. This model was trained on elite runners, and yes, elite runners can run up to 140 miles a week, sometimes more, but 20% of that is 25 plus miles of intensity. That's a massive training load that drives adaptation and demands serious recovery. If you compare that to a new marathon runner doing just 30 miles a week, that's only 6 miles of intensity. That's not a big stimulus, and you probably won't be ready for a marathon with that little intensity a week. The problem is people are still chasing this ratio instead of the result. They avoid intensity just to be pure 80-20 and end up undertraining. But performance isn't about ratios, it's about stimulus and adaptation. If you're doing 2 quality sessions a week, it doesn't really matter if it's 15 or 30% of total volume. What matters is if you're progressing towards your goal. So yes, elites are going to do mostly EDC, but it's all relative. They're still doing a ton of intensity this week, which is going to drive adaptation and requires recovery. If you're training less, you actually have more room to recover, and you don't need to be so strict with the intensity. Following a strict ratio for high volume like elites doesn't make a ton of sense for you. Zone 3 also gets a bad rap in 80-20, but it's actually race pace for most marathons. Elites spend plenty of time there before a race because it's specific and effective. If you can recover from it, I actually think Zone 3 will likely drive better endurance adaptations than jogging at lower intensities for the same volume. Yes, elites can afford to run easy most of the time because they're doing 140 miles a week and need to recover. But if you're only doing 30, it's not the same reality. If you're not following a strict 80-20 ratio, it's okay. As long as it's working and you're staying consistent. Remember, context is always going to beat these mathematical ratios.